What's up, everybody? And welcome to a WNBA State of Mind where we mainly discuss basketball, but we love other sports. And today we just have a special show. We got a special person on here. And as usual, I have nephew Vid and Dominique Don Dada Wilfield on the show. But today we have San Antonio Silver Star, New York Liberty. We ain't even going down the line. We just on San Antonio Silver Star, Cathrine Kraayeveld. Give you a little bit of history about my girl. Actually, unique situation. Your dad, he played for the Seattle Seahawks. Okay.
Yes.
Also, that experience must have been crazy. Also, we're sitting here and we're talking to, all right, one of the all-time shooters in the WNBA, three-point shooter. You were killing it. I remember you came after me, but I remember all that you were doing when you were in New York shooting for some stupid bananas from point percent from the arc, which is like something that somebody would shoot from, field goal percentage, But one unique thing about you is your dad. He played for the Seattle Seahawks in 1978. Talk about that experience and how it defined you.
Yeah, I wasn't born yet. I was born in 81, but like just to hear his stories and how that experience was for him being a professional athlete, I think I pulled a lot of that, whether I realized it or not in the moment. I think a lot of times in life, like you don't realize what you're pulling in and what you're taking for later on in life. But he just shared so many stories about, he wasn't the biggest, the fastest, the strongest by any means, but you better believe he was the hardest worker. He tells a story all the time. If you ever met him, have I told you this story yet? But anyway, they called him Captain Crazy because it didn't matter if it was practice, warm-ups, pregame. He went 100%, like balls to the walls, like no matter what. And that's what got him to the league. And he didn't play very long. He only played a couple of years, like a couple other teams' training camps. But I think that's just where I got my determination, my work ethic, because that was something that I always carried. I wasn't the biggest, the strongest, most athletic, but you better believe I was the first one in the gym, first one or last one to leave. And that was just always my thing, like, because I feel like I just had a sense, like, I was smart enough to know, and like, I have to work this hard. I'm not going to just make it just because, like, I'm 6'4" and I can shoot. Like, I had to work on all those little other aspects of my game so I can keep improving. So just that small little piece, just being able to have that work ethic goes so far. And I think it's kind of a lost art nowadays with a lot of athletes, especially in this generation. Like, I don't want to say they as a whole, but a lot of kids like coming up, they don't really know what it means to work hard because they just think everything's going to be given to them. So fun little fact too, I don't know if you might have to edit it out because you might have to do some research, but my dad actually is the original 12th man. It's like a really, really weird story, and it's hard to find info on it because nobody talks about it, but they used that term before Texas A&M, before the Seahawks. He was on the field as a 12th man, and they got a penalty in the Seahawks, and I don't know if they ended up losing the game, I can't remember, but that was the first time they used that term to refer to a person. They used it as 12th man penalty, but they literally called my dad the 12th man. And somebody after the game or a couple weeks later, whatever it was, came up to him, do you want to coin that term? Like, it's going to go big. Da-da. He was like, nah. So like, we could have been like bazillionaires, like if he would have like coined it. But fun little fact for you, my dad is actually the original 12th man. And most people don't know that because it's 1978. It was before Texas A&M. Yeah, hats off to my dad because he's a hard worker, and that's where I get my work ethic. And it's, it definitely runs in the blood. So.
Yeah.
All right, I have a question. I want to follow up with that, if you don't mind. What's one thing that you learned from your dad that you would give to these kids besides the hard work and dedication? What's another thing?
I think I hate to say being honest, but being honest with yourself and being realistic with your goals and your dreams. I think you want to dream big, and you want to be like have those huge dreams, but you also want to be realistic. Like, what do I actually have to do to get there? It's like I feel like there's this gap nowadays with kids. It's like, I have this big dream, but they maybe don't have that insight or those mentors or the people who come alongside and be, well, this is what you actually have to do to get there. Those like steps, like you got to be in the gym every day. You got to be on the football field. You got to be on the tennis court, whatever it may be. Like, you actually have to put in the work every day, whatever it may be. And I think that piece maybe is missing. And that's one thing that my dad instilled in me. Like, I was I mean, I took my days off, I took my breaks, but I was the one, I want to go to the gym. I want to do it. And like my dad never had to ask me, hey, do you want to go work out? Do you want to go run? Do you want to do whatever? It was just, I wanted to do it. So I think that missing piece, like if kids, I know it's harder nowadays, like, there's so many other things going on. I mean, I grew up in the 80s and there wasn't so much crazy going on, but just trying to pull somebody aside who's been there, done that, a mentor, an aunt, an uncle, parent, whoever it is, like, what do I need to do? Because I feel like that piece really is missing. Like, I mean, I didn't always know what to do, but I had my dad, fortunately. I had him to, hey, this is what I did. And I was a lot like him as an athlete. Like I said, not the quickest, strongest, fastest, but I had that work ethic. So he could really say, hey, if you want to do something great with the basketball skills that you've been blessed with, like, this is really what you need to do. This is how you can get there. And I mean, for me, it might not work for everybody, but, it definitely worked for me. And that's a hard piece, because not everybody's going to steer everybody right, honestly, in the right direction. So that's a hard piece. You really have to find the people you trust. But yeah, just that piece of the actual in and outs of every day, the steps you can take, like mentally, emotionally, like all those things. What is it going to take to really get there?
The village, that's what it's called. And so, I mean, that's an absolutely fantastic answer that you gave us. I mean, Julio ironically drafted you third round, okay, 27th. I get drafted to Utah third round, 27th. So we have a lot more in common. And when I was reading that, I was blown.
That's crazy. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Talk about your playing days and like who were some of the toughest opponents you had?
Yeah, so my playing days, so like a quick recap, I got drafted, like you said, to San Antonio. I got cut. We had back then they drafted 5 rookies, and there literally wasn't room. Like there just wasn't room for 5 people. It wasn't that I wasn't good enough. I thought I was good enough, bottom of the totem pole type thing, but that's okay. I got picked up by New York halfway through the season. So then I spent 2005 through 2009 in New York, and then I got traded to Chicago. So 2010 and 11 I spent in Chicago, and then 2012 and 13 I was in Atlanta, but I actually got cut from Atlanta in 2013 at the end of training camp, and then I ended my career halfway. I got picked up again by San Antonio at the end of 2013. So most of my stories and my memories, like a lot of them do come from New York because I spent 5 years from there. But I played in all such great cities, so it's hard to be like, this one was better than that. I mean, New York, San Antonio, Chicago, Atlanta, like all amazing cities, all great places to be. I think just a lot of my memories came from New York, and our biggest opponent there was Detroit. Like they were just our crux. Like we always get to the playoffs, and we would always lose to them in the playoffs. Like it was so annoying. Like that was when Tweety was playing, and Cheryl Ford, and Kara Braxton, and all those, Katie Smith. That was that core, and it was just, I mean, player for player, they probably really were the better team at that time, But I just got to play with some amazing people in New York. My first year, that was Becky was there, VJ, Crystal Robinson, like Elena Baranova, Ann Waters. Like I had that core group to learn from my first year, and I couldn't replace that at all. I mean, that's an amazing group of girls to like learn from, and as coming in as a rookie, like just really set my sights on, wow, this is an amazing group to learn from, for lack of better words. And I want to take it all in and be that rookie who's annoyingly asking questions and like working my butt off. And I do remember one time, I think it was Ann. It was like warm ups or pregame or something, or shoot around, and I was like probably going a little too hard. And she's like, "Come on, chill out, Kat." And I was like, "Sorry, like I'm just like excited, like I'm ready to go." So she's like, "It's pregame." I was like, "Yeah, it's pregame. Let's go." So just being able to play with some of the best. I mean, Becky Hammond, just she's now doing amazing in Vegas, but just learning from some of those people and still being able to be in contact with somewhat with those people, it's been a great experience. And it's hard to go back and say, hey, I wish I would have played with this player or played for that coach, but I feel like I've done a pretty good job of really just stayed in, hey, this is what I had, and it was amazing. Like I wouldn't want to trade that because I would have missed out on that part of my story and that part of my journey. So yeah, New York was a great experience for me, 5 years, and I wish I could have stayed, but I'm sure, as you know, you can't control trades, you can't control. I really had a vision of spending my whole career in New York. Like I really would have loved that. I love the fans, they were amazing. I got to play in the Garden. It's kind of hard to replace that. So it was great experience, and I wouldn't trade it.
I got a quick question for you.
Yes, sir.
You played for Bev Smith when you were in Oregon.
Yes.
Bev is, she was somewhat of a tough coach, around the country. That was kind of her moniker. What did you learn from her while you were there? What was one of the biggest takeaways? Because offensively, she used you as almost like a stretch big. And around that time, that really wasn't a thing. That
Right.
was innovative.
Yeah. Yeah, I think just having her overseas knowledge, because she's Canadian and she coached in Canada. She was part of the Canadian national team, one of the best Oregon's ever had. So having that mindset, not knowing it, because I did end up playing overseas, not knowing how that would help me, because it's just a different style over there. It's way more physical. The refs don't care. You could get crushed to the floor. They're like, just keep playing, you're fine. There's no blood, there's no nothing. So having that mindset, learning from her, being such an amazing world athlete. Like, she'd been around the world, she'd been to the Olympics, like she had so much knowledge to share. And I think, again, circling back around to my dad, being that type of player who just wanted to work so hard, I was always talking to her, asking her questions, come work with, can you come shoot in the gym with me? I want to shoot, I want to do this. So being able to pull that from her as well and show her, hey, I can also be great, and this is what I want to do with my career here at Oregon. I'm sorry, what was the other part of your question?
Well, no, you answered it twofold.
Okay, because there was something else I had, and then I got sidetracked. There was something else I was going to share. This is what happens when you have kids. Your mind goes blank every 5 seconds. No, there was something else though. You had something really good, and I was like, don't forget.
But just speaking back to Bev, being innovative, using you as a stretch big, really that stretch, in the college game, especially in the Pac-10 around that time.
Yes.
And your game, like, you could shoot the lights out. You don't get enough credit as being one of the best shooters in this game. Someone that averaged over 38% basically for their career, whether college, whether professional, whether internationally.
Yeah, I appreciate that. It's the stretch four thing. Yeah, it was. I hate to say before my time, because I'm like, man, that really puts me at old. Like, I'm not old, I'm 42, but I'm like, man, before my time, you know how they be saying. But yeah, the stretch four thing, it was, when I was growing up, I was super little and scrawny, like tall, but like had no weight on me at all. So I would work on my ball handling, and like I was a guard. And so as I filled into my body and got bigger and stronger, like I was able to hold on to that because I had ball handling skills, like really like a point guard. I took a lot of pride in my passing. I felt like I was a really good passer, and being so tall, I could dump it in the post as a stretch four. And I really think that was before my time, because I'm thinking back now, that's such a huge thing. I mean, look at Asia Wilson, Elena Deladon. Like, I got referenced a lot to people who would say, oh, Elena Deladon reminds me of you when I played in Chicago. Even when I was in Chicago, like, I didn't really get used like that. I could pick and pop and shoot the three, but I didn't feel like my skills as my ball handling and as a guard were utilized as much as they could. So it's not a regret by any means, but the stretch four thing, yeah, it wasn't really a thing back then. So I think that's why it did help boost my career, because it showed like, hey, I'm able to shoot. You have to guard me out here. If not, I can dump it in the post. I can put the ball on the floor, whatever it may be. I think that was another just thing growing up, being like, I don't want to focus on one part of my game. Like, I want to be able to do all sorts of things. So knowing that I wasn't, again, the biggest, fastest, strongest, like, okay, maybe I got some big banger down in the post. Like, I don't want to post up. I'm like little and kind of scrawny, but tall. Like, I'm strong, but not like a banger. Like, okay, I can pull out. I can put the ball on the floor. I can do pull-ups. I can, shoot the three. So I think that really helped my game. And again, going back to Bev, that's, she was a shooter. She was like me, kind of tall and skinny, and didn't like really bang in the post, but was able to shoot as well and put the ball on the floor. So, kind of circle that all back around. That stretch four thing, as you said, it's definitely a thing now, but it wasn't a thing really when I was in college, and even my first couple of years professionally. It wasn't. A lot of my coaches, not to sidetrack, but a lot of my coaches were like, well, don't put the ball on the floor, don't do that, just go post up. And I'm like, this is what I do. Like, I literally would get like reamed sometime, like, don't do that. I'm like, you're just a shooter. I'm like, but I'm not. Like, I'm not just a shooter. There's so many other things I can do. So, but now it's great. The game's expanded. People, 5'2", 5'3" can play, and 6'7", 6'9", whatever it may be. So I love how the game's expanded, and it's been awesome to see.
I just want you to listen to yourself for a second.
Nope, I hate listening to myself.
I want you to listen to me. I want you to listen.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
You were a sharpshooter, and some of your best performances were in New York with the Liberty, where you torched the net, shooting 37. You are also 42nd, as of yesterday, on the WNBA all-time list for three-point shooting. Okay? You lit it up when you were in New York, 41.7%. All right? You were a bear. Now you're on the other side. Absolutely fantastic weekend in Vegas.
Yeah.
Left and went back, and it's still buzzing. I know it is.
Of course.
And you were one of the few players that reached out, very interested in, wanting to do the podcast, and also very interested in other endeavors, which we'll talk about off the cuff, because you're very interested. One thing I noticed about you in Vegas is you are a problem solver. Every single time you would crack me up and you didn't even know it, because every time something went left, you were like, all they have to do is, and I'm like, this girl is like Dr. Fix-It over here. Probably would be somebody who's fantastic in player personnel. Talk to me about some of the things that you may be interested in as we wind down the show.
Yeah, I think a bunch of people told me, not that specifically, but, why don't you get into coaching? And I'm not going to go on a tangent. There's other reasons. I mean, I got 2 little kids. There's a lot going on. But I honestly don't think I'd be that good upfront head coach. I'm not that motivator, that rah, rah, rah. I'm like, I don't know what to say. I just know how to, be a relational coach. So I think I'd be great. Like you said, player relations, like that one-on-one, pull the kids aside, like, hey, this is what I'm seeing. I mean, how many times do you want to hear the head coach tell you what to do? It's kind of like, let me go to the coach that I connect with, that can really feel me and listen to me. It's not going to just tell me what to do. You know what I mean? So I feel like that's where I would flourish, is being more of that one-on-one. The coach players can come to and vent, and this person's bothering me, or I don't like head coach, or whatever. I mean, right now I'm working at my son's school. I'm a paraeducator. For me, I'm a big believer everything happens for a reason, and that's what I'm supposed to be doing now. I would definitely love to get into some type of, whether it's personal training or going in and speaking to kids, sports camps or practices or anything like that. Yeah, I really appreciate you saying that, because I'm one of those people, I feel like I can think outside the box, but a lot of times I'm like, sometimes it is just black and white, and somebody says something, I'm like, well, why don't you just do it like this then? I think it's like there's so many this and this and this. It's like, well, you can just go from point A to point B like this, and it actually works. Like, you don't always have to have all these random outside things, and it doesn't have to be this complex thing that sometimes we make it. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm a big believer, God's got me where I'm supposed to be right now. I'm a single mom of 2 little kids, just turned 8 and 5, and they really need me. I'm a single mom. Their father isn't involved. So I'm being the best mom I can be right now, and being at my son's school has been a huge blessing. But like I said, I'm a big believer everything happens for a reason. There's a reason I'm on here with you. You never know who might see it and who might be like, yep, we want her to come to a camp, come do this and that. And yeah, but I'm happy, I'm healthy, I'm blessed. My kids are doing great, and I'm staying focused on that. But yeah, I mean, I'm in Seattle, so I'm right where the storm can be. I don't know how to tell them, hey, I'm here, come on, you can use me. I got all sorts of stuff in this brain. But yeah, no, I'm happy, I'm blessed, I'm grateful for where I'm at. And my WM experience, overseas experience, was definitely one of a kind, I think. And I think I would have a lot to share with current players. I think it's all about just getting your foot in the door and taking advantage of the opportunities that are given to you, like here with your podcast. I think it's amazing. And like you said before, how we had a connection. I never really knew you, but every time I went to Vegas, we automatically, that was the first, you're the first person I sought out. It was like, oh, where's Goody? I gotta say hi. I gotta give her a hug. And I don't normally do that to most of the other players, because I don't know. As you get older and you have kids, you can feel people's energy, but I was like, I'm good with that one. But I always where's Goody? I got to say hi. So I appreciate that, because people give off certain energies, and it's very obvious, I think, at times, and you just stay away from the ones that don't give the good energy, positive energy, and you go with the ones that do. I appreciate you for that.
Craig, I love you, and you're listening to WNBA State of Mind, and we're going to end on that one.
That's right.
So I appreciate you guys, all the listeners, all the people